Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today we're honoring the late great Sid Sackson, who is affectionately known as the grandfather of game design, and thought by many to be the best US-born game designer. Now he stood in front of a wall of his games a half a century before it was cool to do so. Today, we're going to be continuing Sid's legacy with the Sackson Legacy Collection. Now there's actually two of them, and today we're going to be highlighting the red box. Now Eagle Gryphon Games has access to many of Sackson's journals and notebooks, and from those they found the best games that had never been published. One of them is in this collection. Cinema is a negotiation game where you're movie producers in the golden era of Hollywood attempting to make the next box office smash hit, and this was developed by Emerson Matsuuchi, who's designed great games like Foundations of Rome, Century Spice Road, and Spectre Ops. Dig Site is an abstract strategy game with set collection where you're archaeologists trying to collect colored sets of artifacts, and it was previously published 25 to 30 years ago as the game Corner. Now Bowling Solitaire was originally published in his book Gamut of Games back in 1969, and to this day it still has a cult following of people playing in leagues. So I'm going to show you how the game works, and I'll see you on the other side. This is a preview, so all the art and components you see here are not final. They're prototypes. To see all the most up-to-date art and components, check the link in the description of this video. Cinema is a negotiation game for 3 to 5 players, and it's going to last 2 to 3 rounds depending on the amount of players there. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to get 3 scripts, and they're going to get 3 talent. Now you're going to be negotiating for talent for other people's scripts and things like that, so let's show you what you're trying to do. Now you're trying to have the most money in the end of the game, and you're going to get money by putting on good shows and possibly winning awards at the end of the year. Now when it's your turn, each of the other players are going to offer what they think is their best script for you to use to make a movie. And so you're getting these from other players. They're typically in front of the other players, but I brought them all right here so you can see. And these are going to have different requirements, like the Yelling Man needs a director, a male, and a female. This needs a director and 2 males, a director and 2 females. There's also different genres here. By the way, the names are nice and fun, like Dressed to Grill, a cookout that you don't want to miss. Now they're going to have different genres depending on the icons here. So for example, we have here, which is sort of like comedy, here's horror, here's romance, things like that. So why would you take one person's script over the other? Because whichever script you take, that player is going to get 5 million from the bank. Now every player starts with 20 million, and again, you're trying to have the most money in the end. So why would you take someone's script? Well, because everyone knows what this needs, okay? And they're typically going to offer you a script that they have the talent for. This one might have a male and a female and a director, but they might have ones that are going to match, because the more things that they match, the better off you're going to be. Because if you get, a male or female that matches both of these, that's great. If you have one that matches even one, that's pretty good too. So they're going to be offering you a script knowing that they have the talent that might be a perfect cast for this. So they're going to do that, because once you select one of these, and before you select it, there's still some negotiation of, why are you offering me this? Do you have some perfect talent? Does anyone else have perfect talent for this? You're trying to get a feeling for the table as to which one of these do you think you're going to be able to score the most on, because people have some great talent that will match that. So once you've decided which one to take, you will take that. That player will get 5 million from the bank. They'll get another script, and then you'll be trying to put on that movie. So let's say I accepted the Dress to Grill script from that player, okay? It needs a director, a female, a male, and the genres is a comedy, but it's also an action. It's like an action comedy movie. So now you're going to negotiate to try to hire talent. You're going to get 3 talent, and you're hopefully going to cast them perfectly if you can, and you're trying to match the genre icons as well. So it's open negotiation with other players as to what they're willing to offer you and how much you're willing to pay them for those. Now usually you're going to try to get them from other players. They don't have to tell you what exactly is on their cards, but they cannot lie. So they can be a little vague, but they can't say this is a male, then you get it and it's a female. They can just kind of be vague and you have to decide to trust them or not, but they can't lie. Or you can find undiscovered talent. Now to do this, you got to pay 5 million, and you would just draw a random talent off the top. Now you might get lucky. I need a director, and this one has both. You might just get a random draw that's really good. But you might randomly get someone that is going to end up being a miscast because they don't even have even one of the genres that you're making. And when that happens, you'll end up taking a miscast card. This will go to that film, but you don't actually get to see this. You won't see it to the end of the game, so you don't know how bad it's impacted your movie, but I'll just show you what these look like now. And it says, oh, it's a minus star. So these range from -2 stars to +1 star. And sometimes they'll be minus money or even positive money, but they're very little. So they're somewhat random, but usually they're bad. So instead of negotiating someone else for their talent, or getting a random one off the top, someone undiscovered talent, you could play one from your hand, but it costs 10 million. So it's really a last resort. You might have the perfect one and not be able to negotiate. You might be forced to do it to put out a movie this turn, but it's usually a last resort to put your own cards. The name of the game is negotiating for other players' talent. So let's say I negotiate for these other players. I give them a certain amount of money. You must, follow through with your deal there. And I need a director, female, and a male. I have a director, female, and a male. Now, some of these are perfect. Like this one here matches both of these. This one matched the action, and this one matched the comedy. So we're good. They're well cast. Again, if they didn't match any of them, it would be a miscast. And then we'd look. Now, for each of these, if they match one, you'd get that type of review card. This is a prestige card, so I got one here, face down. Here, I got both. Boom, boom. So I got one of each, and here I got one of the box office cards. Now, if I have at least one of these icons on each of these that matches this, I get an additional card. It can be box office or prestige. I selected prestige. So right now, these are all sort of face down. Now I'll flip up only the box office cards. Now this is going to give me 4, 4, 2. So I got 8 million. So I'll get 8 million. Remember, you start with 20, but you're spending some to pay off people for their talent. Whoever has the most money at the end wins. This is also going to give me a star. So I know that this one has at least 1 star in it. Now, generally speaking, the box office cards gives you more money, but they can give you stars. They actually can possibly give you minus stars as well. But again, this is going to give you money now that you can use for the rest of the game. Now the prestige cards you don't get to look at. So all those cards and this get to put down, I have completed this movie, because you don't know how well it did. It's almost like as if you made the movie and you don't know how well it's going to do at the box office yet. And now we're going to look at all the icons here of the genres, and we see which one has the most. In this case, it's going to be a comedy. If it's tied, you can decide, but we're going to make a comedy movie. This is important because the best scoring, or the one with the most prestige, the stars, at the end of the game is going to get awards for each of the genres. So you can see what else other players have made and see if you think you're going to be higher than that or lower. Now, interesting point about the talent. You got talent most likely from other players negotiating, which means they're down to 2 talent, the ones that you've taken them from. They will not be able to replace or draw up to 3 talents until it's the start of their turn. So they have to be a little bit judicious as to when is their turn coming up and how many talents have they given out at that point. Now, once you finish your turn, it goes to the next player's turn. Once everyone has been the producer, that's 1 round. You're going to play either 2 rounds in a 4 or 5 player game, or 3 rounds in a 3 player game. Then players are going to flip over their prestige cards for all their made movies. Remember, these ones weren't flipped over yet. You don't know how well it did. If it has money at this point, you'll get that from the bank, because remember, the most money at the end wins. And then you're going to see the prestige. This one has 2, 4, 5 stars. You'll look and see which movie has the most stars. That player is going to get the blockbuster 15 million. If a movie scores for this, it can't score for anything else. You can only score 1 award, period. But then you're going to go for each genre. So this was a comedy. If I have the highest comedy and didn't win another award, I would get 15 million. And you do that for all the other genres. And there's also a trash can award, wins 8 million, and having the one with the least amount of star. Then you got to add up all your money, and whoever has the most is the winner. Dig Site is an abstract set collection game for 2 or 4 players. You're going to be trying to gather different artifacts, and there's going to be 8 of these, which are urns, 7 of these, which are ancient tools, 6 of these scroll works, 5 jewelry, 4 bones, 3 gold, and 3 boulders, which is colored yellow because you can never pick up the 3 boulders. Now, as you see over here, you can get a certain amount of points depending on how many you collect of each. So this one you could collect 8 of them, so that'd be 24 points. So it shows you for each of the ones that you have, you're going to get a certain amount of points depending on how many you collect. However, if you collect all of a gem type, then you're going to get double those points. So there's 3 yellows here. If you collected all 3 of these, normally you'd get 6, but you double it at 12. Hey, if you get all 8 of these, which is very rare, you would get 48 points, 24 times 2. Or if you get all of the greens, normally it'd be 13 points, you'd get 26. And whoever has the most points at the end wins. So let's show you how you do this. So in the 2-player game, it starts with the red player placing the trowel in 1 row. Then the yellow player will place their trowel in one of the columns. Where the 2 trowels intersect, they will collect this. So they've got one of the three of these, and the red player does not want them to collect all those because again, it's double the points. So now the red player is going to move their trowel, and they are going to basically, wherever they end up, they're going to intersect with this. So right now the red player can move here and take the blue, here take the purple, the blue, the green, or the purple again because it's lined up with the yellow. So maybe they come over here and maybe they want to take the blue here. So they move it here. They take the blue, and that's theirs. So now this player, again, is going to move. You can never take the boulders. So maybe they say, oh, okay, well, I'll come over here and take right there. I'll take this one, right? And now this player is going to move up and down and take one of these. So you can look 1, 2, 3, 4 turns in advance and kind of think of things because it's a very abstract nature in that way. And that's pretty much how the game works. And as it gets towards the end, let's say it's the red player's turn. They can move, say, like they have to go here because this is the only one that intersects. They'll take this one. And then this player basically will come down maybe like here and takes this one. And you can see how it goes. Now, as soon as there's a way that there's no legal move, then the game will end. Like in this place, there's nowhere that this player can go to line up and take something so the game would end. So you can sometimes set yourself up to end the game at a certain point if you think you're winning. Now in a 4-player game, there's a red team and a yellow team, and each team is trying to collect sets together. And when it's your turn, let's say it's this player's turn, they're going to move their red trowel to either one of the yellows. So they can move up here and intersect and take this one, or move down here to intersect and take this one. And then it's this player's turn. And again, they could come to intersect here, but there's nothing here. So they have to come here. Ooh, there's nothing here. Look at that. You could force the game early because of things like that, but that's typically how the 4-player game works. Bowling Solitaire is a clever mathematical solitaire game. Now you're going to play 10 frames just like normal bowling, and the pins are randomly set up just like normal bowling. Now the cards themselves go from 0 to 9, and there's 2 of each of those numbers. So I have 3 ball cards I can see now. I'm going to select one of these to roll at the pins. Now in the first ball that I roll down there, the first ball card, I can't hit this pin alone or any of these back here, but I can hit different pins. If I wanted to knock this pin down, I could use a 5. I don't have one of those. A 1 or a 4. But I might want to knock down both of these. You can knock down up to 3 pins with one card. This would be a 6. I don't have a 6. Add these up. 5. I don't have that. Add up this. 9. I could use this 9 and knock down these 2 pins. But is there something better I could do? Let's add up these 3. So it's 5, 6, and so we're at 15. Now 15, you always look at the last digit, which is a 5 in 15. I don't have a 5. But here I have 9, 12. Do I have a 2 because that's the last digit? No. So maybe the best thing is to maybe knock these 2 out first. So what I'll do is I'll take this 9, and I'll basically roll it down there, and it will take out these 2 pins. Now that I've done that, I can now flip this card over if there is one. So remember, using this one's better because you have more cards at access there. So now I have an 8, a 6, and a 7. This is still considered sort of the first throw, if you will, but I'm using these different ball cards, and I'll keep going until I can't use any of these. So obviously, I'm looking to be using these cards and getting all these pins down without getting stuck, and then that's going to be a strike because I get it down on my first throw. But now that I've used one ball card, my next ball card has to hit at least one pin that was adjacent to one of the ones that had fallen. So now I could basically have to knock down at least one of these because those are next to the ones that I hit first. So we look at this, like, can we knock down these 3? Let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't have a 2. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 0. I don't have a 1. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I don't have a 3, but look at this. 9 and 8, and this is an 18. I have an 8. So I'll spend this ball to knock over these 3 cards, and we'll flip this one up. So now I can target any of the pins that are next to ones that have already been knocked over. So, this one, or any of these essentially. So maybe I use this 6 to hit these 2. Boom, boom. Oh, I almost have a 7-10 split there, and I will flip this up. Okay, maybe we spend this 1-7 to knock this one out. We'll flip this up. We can use this 0 to kind of get back here because we can get to it like that. But now I have no cards left, so we are stuck. So that's the end of our first throw, and so far we got 9. So on the first frame, I would write down a 9. And then I'd remove the top card of any of the ball cards I have, which is why this wasn't as smart, because if I had a second deck there, I could have flipped that one over, and now I only have a 2, which means I cannot get this down, so I am done for the frame. And because of that, I got a 0, and so I have a 9. So as you can see, it's mathematical, but I could have planned better and worked down the bigger decks first. So then I'd go in the second frame, I'd shuffle everything up and do it again. So let's say we're 5 frames in, I got a 9 the first one, I got a 7 on the first ball, and I got the rest of the pins down, the rest of the 3, so I got a spare. So this you're gonna take, like normal bowling, 10 for this frame plus the first ball here. So 10 plus 9, I got a first ball, to this was 28. Now here I just got a 9 and a 0, so I get 37. Next time I got a strike, I got them all down. It's gonna be 10 plus both balls on the next one. So 10 plus 9, so 19 plus that is 56. And then the next frame I got a 5 and a 4 and 9. So that's generally speaking how you score bowling, and it's the same thing here. And you get to the end of the 10th frame and you try to score the most points. 300 is a perfect game. That's how you play bowling solitaire. Well, there you have the red box of the Sackson Legacy Collection. As I showed in the overview, you have a negotiation game, an abstract game, and a solitaire game. And if you want to learn more, including how to get your hands on this, you can click the link below.